come to my house.
Thank you, beautiful.
Onion pepper.
You're kind of bad in school.
I couldn't breathe. It felt like a knife was being stabbed inside of me. I mean, I was a bit irresponsible. For one night out to the other.
Every time I attempted to escape, I was actually...
There are several voices that speaks to us.
Sometimes God often uses delays to test our obedience and patience.
And I was arrested. I was sent to the police cells.
Do you think that sometimes you kind of go overboard?
In 2006, when I returned to Ghana, I got NS Chemist established me in business.
Onyankopon twentwɛn ne nase wɔ nneɛma bi ade hwɛ yɛ gyidie ɛne yɛ abotrɛ ɛne yɛ boasetɔ ɛwɔ ne mu. Sometimes God often uses delays to test our obedience and patience.
Abeiku, what would you say is your talent?
I'm a talkative, a good communicator, because I have developed it from a talent to a career.
In my passport, my profession would be a pediatric nurse. What would be in your passport?
In my passport is a broadcast journalist.
And to you, how important is it for you to be successful?
Success is defined as attitude, skills, and knowledge. Simply put, is an acronym, ASK, A-S-K. Attitude forms about 60% of success. Skills is about 25%. And knowledge or education forms 15%. Why do I say so? If you can be successful in any endeavor, it depends on your attitude, the way you work, the way you relate to your immediate and external customers or clientele or people that you do business with. So if you want to be successful, it depends on the relationship you have with others.
So do you think that Abeiku Santana is successful?
Yes, I'm successful to a large extent, looking from where I'm coming from. I think those who know me about a decade ago will attest to the fact that I have grown, I have improved, and I've hit a mark. And the crescendo that I have reached is enviable for anyone who aspires greatness to emulate my suit.
You are very spiritual. You've been so for a long time, but you didn't always go to church. You're not somebody that frequently goes to church. So how did you become so involved in your spiritual world?
If you go into the Bible, you realize that Moses was not a prophet and Moses was not an evangelist, but Moses was a friend of God. There can be personal relationship with God. It depends on how you can hear the voice of God speaking to you. There are several voices that speaks to us. Voices of doubt, voices of fear, death and what have you. But if you develop the relationship that you can hear God speaking, you can have a relationship with God. And that is my secret.
So do you meditate at home? What is it that you do?
I do meditate a lot. I like nature. I like animals. I like plants. I like water. And these are the essential elements that brings me to my element of being creative and intuitive to God. So if I find myself in such an environment, then my real nature comes. Then I can hear God speaking to me. So I like going to the riverside. I like going to forests. I like animals around me and all that. That's my nature.
You've been in the radio industry for over 17 years. What are some of the improvements that you've seen since you started?
Yes, I remember when we started radio, we came to meet GAR, that is the local radio, the state broadcaster, GBC. They used to transmit in the morning from 5 a.m. and they close at 10, and they come back at 4 p.m. and they close at 10. Then later we saw Joy FM coming in 1996. After Joy FM, Radio Gold came. Then after Radio Gold, Vibe FM came. Then after Vibe FM, we had Choice FM. After Choice FM, it started springing up. To me, if we look at what radio has done in this country as far as our socio-economic development or advancement is concerned, one, it has created the platform for people to voice their grievances. Ever since we were ushered into the 1992 Constitution, where we created freedom of speech, freedom of association, and the fundamental human rights enshrined in the Constitution, I've seen a great improvement as far as the socio-political and economic advancement of this country is concerned. And we can't, talk about the success of this country or the forward march of this country without mentioning what radio has done. We are in the part of the world that people don't like reading, and the major source of information, or where people rely for information, is radio. So radio has been the voice of the people, the senses of the people. That's where people get, whatever is going on in the society. So we have done very well. I mean, everybody who has played his or her role as far as radio broadcasting is concerned for the past 20 years, we've done a lot.
Yeah, and as you said, radio is very powerful. You are very powerful in what you say to the masses, because what you tell them is what they will listen. And sometimes you would describe somebody, you won't mention their name, but you try and get the person to use their imagination to guess who you are talking about. Do you think that sometimes you kind of go overboard? Sometimes don't you fear that somebody is going to come and hurt you, or because you say
I get what you're saying. When I left Adom FM in 2010, there were a lot of doubting Thomases. People were doubting whether I could make the mark and the name that I made for 9 years on Adom FM. So I was kind of put into a test. I invoked the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which is the supreme law of Ghana, to create, as it were, a new segment, a new dimension, a new area of radio broadcasting with my public rumor mill program called Akeka Akeka. Now, Akeka Akeka afforded me the opportunity to talk about people regardless of having the facts or not. And it was put in a cartoonic way, which is not liable for defamation or slander, in the sense that I will not mention your name specifically. Now, let's go into even the developed world. You have cartoons. Presidents and high, powerful, personalities are being drawn into cartoons to describe them and even say all sorts of things. They've never been sued. You cannot sue. In Ghana, there's a case in precedent where a minister of state sued Daily Guide Akosua for drawing him as sheep. And the court, ruled that he's not a sheep, so it can't be him. He said, it looks like me, but the court said, but it's not you. You understand? True. So I thought that we have not exhausted the constitutional provision. In Ghana, we have laws that are there in black and white, instead of us to enforce the law. And I have challenged a lot of people to take me to court and, challenge the Constitution. But lawyers know that I am, working within the ambit of the law. And let's not say that the Akeka Akeka just name and shame people in society who are doing wrong, but it also put people on their toes to see that, look, if you don't do the right thing, look, you can be blown up. Then again, I'm happy that next year we're going to see the whistleblowers bill becoming an act. Wow. Which will enforce or compel every state official, to respond to a journalist or a media person for any information. So I'm not scared because I'm working within the ambit of the Constitution. Why should you be scared?
So being on radio for so long, how have you been able to maintain, the standard, the Abeiku Santana that everybody wants to listen to?
It's creativity, and that's why I said I'm a very imaginative person. You want to go and listen to something, you know that there's a feature, there's something going on the radio. So it is incumbent on every radio presenter to be creative and dynamic to create what we call suspense, like we do in movies and stuff. Yes, so if you are not creative, you can't survive in radio.
So apart from radio, what else is Abeiku doing?
I have grown from being a presenter, just an ordinary presenter, to become a successful radio proprietor. I've been, by the grace of God, I've been able to establish my radio station, and I'm praying that by the end of the year, I will add one more station to it, making 2.
Wow.
I'm still working for somebody, but I have people who are working for me. I'm so happy that the talent God gave me that is talking has developed into business. Now it has developed to enterprise, giving people opportunity to come into radio and work. Besides that, I do consultation for people as far as media relations and marketing communication is concerned. So basically, that's what I do.
So what happened to strategic communication?
Well, strategic communication is a marketing media agency that develops creative, compelling advertising appeals for our clientele. The radio station is the communication tool that will, as it were, execute all those creative campaigns or appeals for clients. Besides that, I'm doing 1 or 2 real estate buildings and designs, and I collect, gallery of building architectural designs, and I also make it, mold it into my own. So I've started doing 1 or 2 real estate. So that's what is going on.
That's what's happening.
Abeiku is a very serious person in the sense that he takes his work very, very seriously. I mean, people know him outside as somebody who cracks a lot of jokes. He's very humorous, but beneath that, he's a very focused, very serious young man. He has chugged a lot of success in his profession as a journalist, but more so, he's a very serious and successful businessman.
Abeiku is unique. Abeiku is Abeiku. He doesn't copy somebody, he doesn't pick somebody's thing and put onto himself and behave as if he's that person. No. He has his style of doing his own thing.
So you were born in Koforidua?
Yeah.
You were the firstborn of 4?
Yeah.
Your dad was a medical officer?
Yeah, sure.
And obviously he wanted the best education for you and your family?
Sure.
Your sister passed away?
Yeah.
And how was that for you, being the oldest when your sister passed away?
It was a big blow. I think in 2003, we're in London at Forest Gate when I had a call that my sister had been diagnosed of cancer. At that time, she was pregnant. And so how to manage, the treatment or chemotherapy in order not to affect the pregnancy or the baby was quite, a difficult one. But by the grace of God, she gave birth successfully. It was quite difficult, but, I've suffered a lot of traumatic emotional torture in my career as a broadcaster or as a public personality. And it doesn't matter how many times you're knocked down. What matters is how many times you get up. The more you overcome the hurdles of life, the more you become tough and stronger. I have gone through the rough and the smooth, stages of life. Like Paul said, I fought a good fight of faith, and I'm waiting for the crown. So when God calls me, I say, thank you, my maker. So the challenges that we go through do not come to hurt and kill us, but to strengthen us so that we can be able to stand foreseeable danger in future. So I'm strong.
Definitely.
And I'm okay.
You're very strong because despite your dad being a medical officer, your mom was a trader.
Yep.
She used to buy and sell, and I know that you and your brother used to sell some of the stuff. So from Key Soap, when Key Soap started, you guys were helping your mom to sell those things. How was it like those days?
I've sold everything that my mom has traded in, from plantain to cassava to buffroot to bread to provisions to electrical appliances and everything, including second-hand clothing. So I've seen it all from my infancy. So I don't enjoy what people call stardom or celebrity. I'm tough. You can see me. I bought Trotro from Spintex Road all the way to Malam Junction or to Circle. We've come up with a group on Facebook called Trotro Diaries, and we share with people information, what is going on in Trotro. And that is also a way of getting information from the people. I can go down to the people, I listen to the people, and I'm open, I'm very accessible. People come to me, but I share with people whatever I have. So me, I'm there for the people. I'm a bad boy, I'm a rough boy,
So Abby, when you were 11 11, 10, going out on the streets and selling these things on your head. So if you was to enter my office, how would you sell me the kiso?
Good afternoon. And I didn't know I didn't have power. Hey, you ball I'm cutting what? Don't patch your lunch uncle lunch. I offer you help, assistance. Okay. If I come to your office and you've eaten or you have garbage, first thing, I won't talk about business. I'll clear your mess for you.
Wow.
Credibility is won or earned by the way you go about your things, the way you do your things. When I come to you, I pray, I chant, I meditate. I say that, God, I'm going to tell this person to buy my thing. I know he's going to say this, but let him buy it. I always have this premeditated mind that when I say that this is what you say, so I must have a counter, you know, something. So that's how I am. It's not magic. Yeah. Before you realize you're giving me the thing. And I've done it to a lot of people, and they keep bringing
So you going through that and you seeing a lot of kids on the street, what words of encouragement, because you've been there, selling on the street, you know, somebody somewhere may not have any hope, thinking that this is what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. But Abeiku Santana came from that. He did that as well. What type of advice would you give them?
The battle is in your mind. The battle is not what people say. The battle is not even the reality on the ground. I've been to jail before, you know it, in America. I was locked up, you know, I was charged with second-degree felony and Class B misdemeanor in 2004, September, in America. You know, people told me that, hey, after 9/11, the laws have changed. You have to go to Ghana. Go, run away, Kofi. I said, no, I won't go, because I'm not a criminal. Yeah. It was, you know, Abruchisem and Nkratasem. I was locked up in this house. I came back, I continued my school. After that, I came back to Ghana. So even in environment and systems where, you know, it seems impossible and no. If you believe in yourself and believe in God, you can make it. So problems, yes, they will come. Solutions is inside your head. We can find solution. Look, you have to be credible in your life. If you are a bad boy in primary school, bad boy in secondary school, bad boy in university, who is going to help you in future? Not even your family people will help you. Sometimes when your family people desert you, it's the friends and people in society who will help you. Yeah. Like I said, success, 60% relies or depends on attitude. Yeah. Attitude is the relationship you have with people. You can be on the street, but don't try to be smart. Don't try to be bad. Don't try to, you know, always, try to beat people. No, you one day get stuck, you hit, and you crash. In 2006, when I returned to Ghana, I got NS Chemist established me in business. He sponsored my program, he sponsored my TV shows. Somebody must find you credible. So the people on the street, apart from selling on the street, they have something. But somebody must place value on them and invest in their life.
Abeiku is a very hard-working, principled person, God-fearing, would not compromise anything, and whatever vision and goals that he sets to get, he will go up and down, heaven and earth, to make sure that he gets it and it's done, and it's perfectly done right.
He's very principled. If the thing is blue, he wouldn't say because you are his friend or the relationship between you and him, he won't say it as it is. If it is blue, it's blue. If it's yellow, it's yellow.
Without people like Abeiku, no musician will ever survive, because you need a dedicated radio presenter, a committed radio presenter, and a genuine radio presenter, and radio presenter who knows what is best and what time and what to say about your song that will make it a hit. I thank God for the life of this great man.
Abeiku Mame, that's what they used to call your mom. Not Kevin Mame, Kevin Mame, because the whole area, it was all about Abeiku. And at one point, I think it was 1989, when your dad bought you a motorbike. And you gave it to a friend, and he never returned it. What did you do, Abeiku?
It turned to a fight, and I stabbed him. And I was arrested. I was sent to the police cells. The stabbing was quite gruesome. Criminal investigators wanted to prosecute me to court because they said, how come a young guy, I think 18 years by then, could do such, a heinous crime. So they were going to prosecute me. And my mom pulled every string, did everything possible not to get me in jail. My dad wanted me to be punished though.
Yeah.
I'm so close to my mom. I go to church with my mom. I do everything with my mom. I sell with my mom. So my mom, contacted some men of God, bishops, to go and plead, for clemency for me. And I think I was released.
So how was it like being in jail for that time, 18 years old?
When I went to cells, I was the last, comer. And they have laws or rules in the cells. In the morning, you pick the garbage and the toilet and walk and go and drop it into, the manhole. We sleep on the bare floor. There was this small blanket. It was dark in the room. You don't see anywhere. There are just some small window that you can see daylight. So if you want ventilation, you just have to come close to that window and you can, inhale the fresh air. I pray that, the young ones wouldn't go through. I think I've never fought since that time. It could have ended the guy's life. I was a bad boy. I was always, holding knife on me. But later did I know that God will call me out of this darkness into his marvelous light.
The reason why I'm talking about this is so that you can share your story and let others know that you've been through all of that and you've come out to be a successful leader and somebody that somebody can look up to as well. I think it's really important that, us who have kind of gone through things are able to share so that others can learn from it. I hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week.
God is the covenant keeping God. In the next few days, in the next weeks ahead of us, you will see a change in your life. Amen. Na yebeka sa man sachaya bo man Ghana mu yebeka sasa omo maso asisi bete omo mawu be nyane enema achiachi be tenetene sade wonyankopon hye ni difo Ezekiel